sometimes when I go to the funeral home, I see a lot of people. They cry for each other. They cry for them, for their family members, friends who passed away. And that I also concern and ask myself, why can't we do all that while they're still alive? Why are we crying right now in front of the corpse, in front of this casket? If you could have done that before this person lying there, how beautiful it is, how wonderful that is, then you won't hold regret. Because now that you want to talk to that person can't hear you anymore. It's gone. That person's gone. And you just go there and show your respect and then show some tears to the people. Show people how loving you are to that person. All those are not true. Right? All those are not true for me. Because to care, to show love, is all when we're still alive and we can still communicate with each other. And it should be like that. But unfortunately, we are not living like that anymore. We just care about our own things, our own world. We ignored everything else. And that's why I feel sad. That is why I made a vow to walk, to raise the awareness of peace. Because I have seen so much problems, so much suffering just like that around me. And wherever I go, I see all this. And I really don't know how to help. And for that reason, I made a vow that if I could help our people, then I would like to do something to raise the awareness to the people. And that is how I decided to walk 3 years ago. And then we walked finally. We finished 109 days. And now 110 days, 111 days now. And we are meeting each other this morning to share again the key that I always share. Mindfulness. Being multitask will not help us anymore. We just have to stay focused one thing at a time. That is also mindfulness practicing. That is going to support our practicing. Because even if we breathe in and breathe out every day, and we still doing multitask, we do so many things at the same time, then our concentration is going to be divided. Keep on dividing it. We can't stay focused, right? Beside the sitting sessions to breathe in and breathe out, we have a lot of time left. And all those time we spend for something else, multitasking. Eating alone, we can't even focus on eating. We talk, we text, we surf the internet, we check social media, sending text messages back and forth. All those things. Just eating alone, we can't even focus. We really don't know what we're eating, for sure. Because our eyes way too busy watching movie, YouTube. Our ear is listening to all the things. Our mouth is talking while eating. And our hand is typing while thinking. We keep doing that. And for that reason, one of the reason why whenever we eat, whenever we have lunch, our volunteers, our coordinators always ask people not to talk, ask people not to video, not to take any pictures while we eat. Because when we eat, it's not nice. Right? Sometimes we eat is not clean, not nice. So we don't need to capture all those moments. Right? Imagine when we eat and we talk and people can see food in our mouth. That is something not nice. But we didn't care about that. That's how we live. And that is why I share with the audience that we need to be mindful. We need to change the way of living. The way of living means we need to do one thing at a time. When you eat, just be mindful with eating. Focus on eating. When you drink, the same thing. When you change, when you clean, when you vacuum the floor, when you walk, when you read. Now ask ourselves, were we doing all those things with many other things at the same time, or we focus on one thing at a time? When we wash dishes, we can't even know. We didn't even know which water we turn it on, cold or hot water. And when we cut in vegetable, sometimes we cut ourselves, our fingers. Right? Because always multitask, always sidetrack. So now, if we know about mindfulness, listen to the monk who talk about this every day. Will we willing to change the way of living to have a better life, or are we going to continue our journey as before? It's all up to us. That I share, we have 4 types of lotus. The first type of lotus is always under the waters. It just grow under the water. Every day, just stay under the water. And the second type of lotus is keep trying a little bit every day. But trying hard still, just rise, floating right on top of the water surface. Not too high, but just right on top. And then the third type of lotus is trying hard to grow, and it's growing like maybe 1 feet above the water surface level. And then the fourth lotus is rising high. It's rising high. That type of lotus only waiting for the sunrise to bloom. The third type of lotus would take several sunlights, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe some years, to not that long, but to bloom. And the first one, which is I mentioned under the water, that type of lotus is only to feed the other creatures. Whichever lotus that we want to become, we choose. It means if we want to rise high, if we want our wisdom to arise, if we want to become enlightenment, if we want to have a better life, the fourth type of lotus, just only waiting for the sunrise to bloom. It means, if we can say like this, all of us here been suffer, for example. And when you hear about walk for peace, when you hear about the monks who walk for peace and raise the awareness of peace and compassion and loving kindness and so on, and then you are coming out for it to support and to join, hoping that we can have peace for ourselves, right? And then when you listen to the talk, and I share the talk, I share the key and everything, You take that into action right away. Your knowledge arises. You liberate all kind of sufferings. You have a peaceful life from there. That is the fourth type of lotus, rise high. When the sun's hit it, you bloom right away. It blooms right away when the sun hit it. And that's the fourth type. And the third one will take several talks, several walks. Maybe this is the first walk, but probably I have to take another 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10 more walk. And we have to come out and listen to that many times, couple more times, in order for us to gain knowledge, wisdom, and that flower will be bloom, right? It means that there are a lot of people coming out for this mission. But after listening to the talk, go back home, try a little bit, and they found out that this is so hard, so difficult to do, to give up. And they feel like, no, I shouldn't give it up. They continue trying, then give up. And then they try again, right? They keep on trying and trying. It will take a longer time. Many sunrise, many sunlights for that flower to bloom. And the second lotus, the second type, is right above the water level. This one, it takes a lot longer. This one will practice and then give up very quick, very easily. When I say breathe in, breathe out, that person do the breathe in and breathe out and then give up. Cannot stay focused whatsoever. When that person's breathe in and breathe out, the mind is wandering, running around rapidly, overwhelmed him, and that person quit for a long time. And then whenever there's a movement happen again, that person come out and support and then start again. And then after starting it, that person found out that this is difficult, same thing as the first one, and he gave up. After a very long time, many more years, there's another movement come out. There's another waffle piece from different people, and this person come out and do that, the same thing, but cannot get to the point. Keep on dropping out. Keep on giving up. And the first one is not really trying at all. Just wanted to stay like that. Even suffer deeply. He or she will continue with that, live with that, and doesn't care about anything else. It's okay to be suffer. And they think that's normal. And they don't want to try even a little bit. So this type of lotus, this type of people is going to suffer the rest of their life after life. And they cannot achieve anything in this world, in their life, because they don't want to try. They don't want to put any effort into it. They just want somebody to bring it to them. Just like, I'm hungry, and so I need food, but I don't want to go to the kitchen to cook. Somebody have to do it for me. And then when nobody do it for them, they act up, get angry, get mad, things like that. So this first type of lotus, we can't change. Even if the one who have such knowledge and wisdom talk with them, they still don't want to change. So whichever type of lotus we choose for ourselves, We need to really think about it thoroughly and look at ourselves. Which one are we? And so, which type of lotus are we looking forward and we want to be? Which one? The fourth? Yes? Rise high, just waiting for one more sunlight and then we bloom right away, right? All beings should be like this. Because we have no energy left. We don't have much left. We don't have much time left either. Look at us. We are getting older and older every single second, every single day. When we've been born, it means that the death is coming right after being born. So we don't know when we're gonna die. Why would we waste our time and effort doing unnecessary things? Well, there's a lot of things for us to do that is meaningful, that is value for our life, but we didn't do it. We just want to join the crowd, we just want to join the movement just for something else, but not for the better. Then we waste our life, we waste our time, we waste our effort and energy. For me, I reflect the death a lot. Keep thinking about the death because we don't know. Within one breath going in and not going out, we die. Just within last night from 1 a.m. until what time, how many hours that we sleep? Maybe we couldn't get up, wake up. Just one sleep and we go. We could die in bed, right? Because nobody can assure us. Nobody can guarantee our life. And a lot of people, we have our families, members, our friends pass away in front of us, yes? A lot. We see all those. And so are we just gonna live in this world waiting for that moment? Or we want to live in this world to do something better for our life and share that with the others? Of course, we want to be better. We want this world to be a better place too. And we want all the people to live a happy life and peaceful life, right? And for this reason, this walk for peace, I want all the people to walk together with us on this journey, on this path, to bring peace to our life, to bring peace to our family, and our society, our nation, and our world. But it always starts from one person first, which is us here. We just have to start from ourselves. Without us starting, there will be no one else. Peace will not happen. Just like this walk, I have just one thought, that I want to walk, I want to do this. From that thought, now that many people joining me. And of course, this is what I really need. Because changing the world is require all of us to do, not just all these venerable monks. Us alone cannot finish this journey. Us alone cannot change anything. But it's require all of us to walk on this path, to change it together. With the power of all of us together, it changed everything. How many of us that joined the global metta meditation on our last night? The loving and kindness meditation. Okay. At that time, probably there's a lot of yogi that is the first time doing the metta, which is loving kindness meditation. Of course, it's always tough at the beginning. Either metta meditation or breathing meditation is the same. Because meditations is boring. Okay? Meditation alone is not boring, but our mind. Our mind is active. It's active. It's just like that. Moving quick, very fast. And then when we tell our mind, okay, let's not run in anymore, sit down. Stay focused. Stay still. Don't move. And then the mind is like, this is not something that I am used to. I don't like this feeling. I don't like doing this. I'd rather jump around and walk around and running around. That is how the mind reacts when we tell the mind to stay there and focus on one thing, which is this, or metta. That is, the mind is acting up all the time. But that is always for the beginners, because we are not having that new habit of stay still yet. But it is achievable.
In a world that celebrates speed, there is something profoundly radical about a walk for peace. We are a culture obsessed with the finish line, with the optimization of our schedules, and the accumulation of accolades. We rush through our mornings to get to work, rush through our work to get to the weekend, and rush through our weekends to prepare for the inevitable Monday. In this blur of perpetual motion, we often lose the very thing we are running toward, the feeling of being alive. It is into this frantic landscape that the teachings of Venerable Bhikkhu Panikkara arrive, not as a thunderclap of judgment, but as a gentle, rhythmic reminder, much like the steady cadence of a pilgrim's feet upon the earth. His message, born from the physical and spiritual exertion of a walk for peace, asks us to pause and consider the direction of our own lives. It suggests that peace is not a destination we reach after all our tasks are done, but a manner of traveling. It is a choice we make in the present moment, a decision to step out of the chaotic current of modern existence and find solid ground. This journey toward peace begins with a confrontation of our most painful habits, specifically the way we delay love. The Venerable speaks with a heartbreaking clarity about the atmosphere of a funeral home, a setting all too familiar to us, where the air is thick with the scent of lilies and the heavy weight of regret. We see families weeping over caskets, pouring out tears for fathers, mothers, and friends who have passed on. In that sterile room, surrounded by silence, we finally say all the things we were too busy, too proud, or too distracted to say when the person was warm and breathing beside us. We witness an outpouring of affection that is tragic precisely because it is untransferable. The ears that needed to hear, "I love you," are deaf to the world, and the hands that needed holding are cold. The monk asks a question that pierces the heart of our procrastination: why can't we do all that while they are still alive? It is a query that demands we examine our priorities. We often live under the illusion that there will always be more time, another holiday, another birthday, another Sunday dinner, to show our appreciation. We assume that the people we love are permanent fixtures in the architecture of our lives. But this assumption is the thief of intimacy. By waiting until the end to show the depth of our care, we rob ourselves and our loved ones of the joy of connection. True reverence for life is not found in the eulogy, it is found in the breakfast conversation, the random text message of support, and the undivided attention given on a Tuesday evening. The wisdom of the walk teaches us that love is a present tense verb. If we want to live without the heavy burden of regret, we must learn to give our flowers to the living, not the dead. However, to love the living deeply, we must actually be present with them, and this brings us to the modern epidemic of fragmented attention. We have become a society of multitaskers, wearing our ability to juggle a dozen things at once as a badge of honor. Yet, the Venerable suggests that this fracturing of our focus is not a skill, but a sickness that dilutes the quality of our existence. Consider the simple act of eating a meal. In our current culture, lunch is rarely just lunch. It is lunch plus email, dinner plus Netflix, or a snack plus scrolling. We sit before a plate of food, but our eyes are glued to a screen, our ears are filled with a podcast, and our fingers are typing a response to a message that could easily wait. When we live this way, we are essentially ghosting our own lives. We chew, but we do not taste. We swallow, but we do not nourish our spirits. We are physically present but mentally absent, hovering somewhere in the digital ether rather than inhabiting our bodies. The Venerable paints a vivid, almost uncomfortably honest picture of this behavior, talking with food in our mouths, distracted and messy, unaware of the indignity of our own lack of composure. This is not just bad manners, it is a spiritual loss. When we cannot do one thing at a time, when we cannot simply eat, simply walk, or simply listen, we sever our connection to the reality unfolding right in front of us. Mindfulness, in this context, is the reclamation of the sacred in the ordinary. It is the revolutionary act of doing one thing at a time with our whole heart. It is the practice of washing a dish and feeling the water, of cutting a vegetable and noticing its color, of looking into the eyes of a companion and truly seeing them. By discarding the myth of multitasking, we return to a life of depth and dignity. But why is this shift so difficult? Why do we cling to our distractions and our delays? To answer this, the teachings offer a profound metaphor derived from nature, the parable of the four lotuses. In the Buddhist tradition, the lotus is a symbol of enlightenment rising from the mud, but here it serves as a mirror for our own readiness to grow. The Venerable describes four distinct types of flowers, each representing a different stage of human spiritual development. The first lotus remains submerged deep underwater. It lives and dies in the darkness, never breaking the surface. This represents the state of being completely asleep to one's potential, a life lived in the mud of suffering without the will or the awareness to seek the light. These are the people who accept their unhappiness as a baseline reality, perhaps waiting for someone else to save them, yet refusing to swim upward. The second lotus rises to the surface but only floats there, flat against the water. It tries a little, perhaps dabbling in mindfulness or kindness when it is convenient, but it lacks the strength to rise above the currents. It is easily overwhelmed by the waves of life, giving up when the practice becomes difficult. The third lotus stands above the water, striving upward. It is growing, but it requires time. It needs many sunrises and many sunlights to bloom. This represents the majority of sincere seekers, those of us who try, fail, and try again. We attend the meditation retreat, we read the books, we walk the path, but our old habits are sticky. We need repetition, patience, and the grace of time to slowly unfurl our petals. And then, there is the fourth lotus. This flower stands high, fully formed, and ready. It waits only for the first touch of the morning sun. The moment the light hits it, it blooms instantly, without hesitation or delay. This is the state of readiness we are invited to aspire toward, a state where we don't need years of convincing to be kind or peaceful, but where we respond immediately to the call of wisdom. The question this metaphor poses is not just, which lotus are you, but, which lotus do you want to be? We are reminded that we have the agency to choose our own rising. This choice becomes urgent when we confront the undeniable reality of impermanence. In Western culture, we go to great lengths to sanitize and hide death, treating it as a medical failure rather than a natural conclusion. However, the Venerable, and indeed, the mindfulness tradition as a whole, encourages us to keep death as a close advisor. We are aging every single second. From the moment we are born, we are walking toward our final exit. This is not meant to be a morbid fixation, but a clarifying truth that cuts through the noise of our trivial concerns. The transcript offers a sobering reflection. We do not know if the breath we just took in will find its way out. We go to sleep at night with plans for the next decade, yet there is no guarantee we will wake up to see the morning sun. Just one sleep and we go, the Venerable reminds us. When we truly internalize the fragility of our timeline, our perspective shifts tectonically. The petty arguments, the grudges, the fears of embarrassment, and the obsession with accumulating material wealth suddenly seem ridiculous against the backdrop of our mortality. If today were truly the last day, would we spend it scrolling through social media? Would we spend it holding on to anger? Or would we finally speak the love we have been withholding and inhabit the peace we have been postponing? Reflecting on death paradoxically teaches us how to live. It strips away the non-essential and leaves us with the raw, precious immediacy of the now. Yet, even with this knowledge, the practice of coming back to the now is a struggle. We must be honest about the difficulty of the path. The mind is often compared to a wild monkey, restless, agitated, and constantly jumping from one branch of thought to another. When we sit down to meditate, or even just to sit quietly without our phones, we often encounter a profound sense of boredom or resistance. The mind rebels. It screams for stimulation. It says, "I don't like this. I want to move. I want to check the news." This resistance is the primary reason the second lotus gives up. We try to breathe, we get distracted, we feel like failures, and we quit. This is where the concept of the walk for peace transcends the individual and becomes a testament to the power of community and discipline. The Venerable admits that the mind does not want to stay still. It is not its nature. Taming it requires a gentle but firm persistence, a willingness to be bored until the boredom transforms into tranquility. But we cannot always do this alone. The walk is a collective endeavor. It started with one thought, "I want to walk," but it grew because others joined. There is a profound energy in shared intention. When we walk together, sit together, or practice peace together, we borrow strength from one another. We realize that our personal struggle with the monkey mind is actually a universal human experience. We are not failing, we are simply training. The community acts as the trellis that supports the lotus as it rises. We need the Sangha, or community, to remind us that while peace starts with the individual, it is sustained by the collective. We cannot change the world alone, but the world cannot change without us. Ultimately, the message culminates in a powerful call to immediacy. We are asked to stop waiting for the perfect conditions to be happy or peaceful. The fourth lotus does not wait for the water to be clear or the wind to die down. It waits only for the light, and it blooms. The light is wisdom. The light is the realization that this moment, right here, with all its imperfections, is the only moment we have to be alive. We are invited to stop acting like the underwater lotus, waiting to be fed, or the floating lotus, drifting aimlessly. We are invited to rise high. The walk for peace is not just a physical trek across kilometers of pavement. It is a metaphor for the internal journey we must take every day. It is the walk from our heads to our hearts. It is the walk from the distraction of the screen to the reality of the face in front of us. It is the walk from the regret of the past to the vibrancy of the present. As the sun rises tomorrow, it will touch the surface of the pond. We have a choice. We can remain closed, hoarding our potential for a future that may never come, or we can open ourselves fully to the light, blooming with a radical, compassionate presence that not only transforms our own lives but offers beauty and peace to the world around us. The sun is up. The time is now. Let us bloom.